What's up, guys? Thank you again for joining me for bobK0T0R's gaming news today. Activision buys out itself. A Twitter explosion leads to Fez2 being cancelled. Kingdom Hearts 3 is not the end. And Dragon Age Inquisition is multiracial. So first news story of the day is, as I had said a moment ago, Activision Blizzard had bought itself out from Vivendi Universal. Now you might be saying, Bob, that's a pretty big acquisition. How much did they have to pay? Oh, just $8 billion. Chump change, right? Now, it's kind of surprising not only with the amount of money that was spent, but the timing, considering Vivendi Universal had been trying to sell its take in Activision Blizzard for a while now with no luck whatsoever, and now all of a sudden Activision Blizzard decides, you know what? Maybe we should just own ourselves. So that's when bobK0T0R, a bunch of members of the board, and the company itself put up a ton of money, again, $8 billion, to put towards this purchase of themselves. And now they are an independent company, no longer a part of Vivendi Universal. Now, Vivendi Universal does still own about a 12% total sharehold, but I imagine over the coming months they'll either try to get rid of those as well, or just stay on as a minor shareholder in this case. But either way, ridiculous amount of money spent, and I don't really believe this will have too much change on the franchises that Activision pumps out a lot, Call of Duty, Skylanders, World of Warcraft, Blizzard games, so on and so forth. But again, still crazy to think that they had that much money lying in wait, and they still have $3 billion for financial stability, according to bobK0T0R. Crazy amounts of money. So for my second story of the day, BioWare recently announced that Dragon Age Inquisition is going to allow you to play as multiple races, kind of like they did in the first one, Dragon Age Origins, where you could play as a human, an elf, or a dwarf. No announcement on the Qunari as of yet, but I know a lot of people are waiting for it. Now, as you might be able to tell, I'm kind of a big BioWare fan with all this and over there, and I even have some of these right there, so I'm a pretty big BioWare guy, but I can't help but say I hope the story is just as good as it was in the first Dragon Age, and the combat is as good or better than it is in the second. I want that perfect harmony, because let's face facts, the first game's combat was pretty terrible. The second game's storyline wasn't that great. The character development in both games I thought was very well done. Admittedly, I'm not a big fan of the silent protagonist stuff anymore, like in the first Dragon Age and games that are older than that. Because now, obviously, we have, star-studded voice actors. Why not use them? But that's just me. Dragon Age Inquisition coming out next fall. Not this fall, sadly. But Game Informer will be having that huge cover issue, so keep your eyes out for that. And for my third story of the day, Kingdom Hearts 3 is not the end of a trilogy, and it's not even the end of the franchise. So says series creator Tetsuya Nomura, saying that was never the actual plan all along, and considering the amount of spin-offs that Kingdom Hearts has had, you can't really call it a trilogy anymore. But he did go on to say that Kingdom Hearts 3 will lead to the ending of the specific enemy that you've been fighting this entire time. Now, no details on that specifically, or of course no details on a release date yet, but Kingdom Hearts 3 does release sometime after launch for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And when that date does come around, I'll be the one to tell you about it here as well. And for my last story of the day, and arguably the most interesting, Fez developer Polytron had recently announced that Fez2 has been cancelled, very abruptly I might add. Now, the supposed reason, or at least that's what most of the community seems to believe, is that Phil Fish, the co-founder of Polytron and one of the lead designers on Fez, recently got into a huge Twitter spat with Marcus Beers, a representative from GameTrailers.com. Now, mind you, this had started from Marcus Beers having a few choice words for Phil Fish and Jonathan Blow, two indie game giants, really, and this, of course, boiled over into Twitter. Now, immediately after this back and forth rant between the both of them, Phil Fish then went on to say that, as of this point, Fez2 is now cancelled. Now, of course, the community was in a complete outrage because Fez2 did very, very well, and a lot of people were anticipating the sequel's release. Now, Phil Fish did go on to say that Fez2 was not cancelled over some spit over Twitter that he had just had, but instead that he's doing it to get out of the gaming industry. And he's getting out of the gaming industry because he couldn't handle the abuse. Now, to me, this sounds like he's getting out of the game industry over a spat over Twitter, because the abuse could easily be pointed as that war over Twitter. Now, again, I understand. I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't leave the gaming industry. It's his own job. He can do what he wants. I don't care about that. But you have to kind of feel for the fans of the gaming franchise who had nothing to do with and didn't care about him and Marcus Beer's assault over Twitter, but now they're the ones left in the cold. That their game, the game that they wanted to see released, doesn't get to be made because all of a sudden he packs up and leaves. I'm not sure why they don't continue the project after he's gone, or maybe transfer it off to a different team, or so on and so forth, sell the project to a different or bigger developer. Who knows? But Fez2 has officially been canceled. And that's all the stories I got you for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be doing these videos every Wednesday from now on, so come on back every Wednesday. You'll be seeing me here. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, all those other fun things. But you guys have a great night, and thank you again for watching.